Hello everybody, Jonathan Fox here, Fox Group, standing in front of my listing at 851 North Glebe at the Continental here in Arlington, where we just sold unit 603 for a record price. For a one bedroom, a record price. That is the third time in less than 18 months that Fox Group has sold a condo in the Continental for a record price. And I thought today's episode, it would be a perfect place to discuss and weigh out the advantages between hiring a traditional broker like myself to sell your property versus going for sale by owner. Let's face it, in Arlington, in the Continental, there are tons of people that are looking to go for sale by owner that are thinking about the advantages. So I want to dive right in and talk candidly about the subject because there are so many misconceptions about it that I wanted to bring you the information from a bird's eye perspective of someone that's been doing this for 11 years and has seen this scenario play out time and time again. So let's jump right in. First thing, as a seller, you should care about is exposure. Getting more people looking at your property, your product, which is your property, is the best possible result. Honestly, buyers are coming from all around the world. 92% of buyers are shopping online and directly coming from that resource. So if you're not on thousands of websites, if you don't have the infrastructure in place where you can have subscriptions to thousands of sites, you're leaving something on the table. Buyers are coming from all around the world, and in today's world, it is more important than ever that you show great online. And for sale by owners, sending out an email to your building, let me know if you know someone that's looking, you're leaving a lot of opportunity on the table. So something that we can do is make sure that your property looks great on thousands of websites, get the maximum number of showings, and the more showings you get, the more opportunities you have to negotiate with your best buyer. And that is something you should care about. So there's going to be your first shortcoming. How do you overcome that? Get the most exposure. But let's talk candidly. The second thing that people run into are the fees, right? I've never met a for sale by owner that said, I want to waste my entire weekend showing my unit. I want to take calls and emails before work, after work, during work, get interrupted, family time, showing the unit. No way. You do it to save money, and I get that. I understand saving money as a consumer in every other way. That's important to me too. But let's talk reality for a second. At the end of the day, buyers are going to think like buyers. They are going to get representation because buyers, getting a buyer's agent is free. 99% of buyers have a buyer's agent at this point, so you're going to be stuck paying a buyer's agent commission. If you don't, you're going to run into that exposure issue, once again, where you're limiting yourself to 1% of buyers that don't want representation. And let's be honest, the 1% that don't want representation, there might be a very good reason for that and not a good reason. So you're going to be paying a buyer agent, and as a seller, you are going to be saving the 3% that you're not going to be paying a listing agent. Guess what a buyer is going to automatically think? Well, I'm entitled to that 3%. I know they're saving it. Again, it's a little bit twisted, but buyers think like that. So you're either going to put that 3% in their pocket, or you're going to pay someone like myself to sell your property, and then you get representation as well, someone that will negotiate fiercely on your behalf, make sure that you're compliant, that you have the right forms, that you're not going to lose a lot more than a listing fee in court when you run into a disclosure issue, because let's face it, complicated stuff. Every state has their own interpretation of the disclosures and what it means to be compliant. So you might be hiring lawyers to make sure that's the case, tracking down forms that you may or may not need. So if you save a listing fee, you're either going to pay it to a buyer that's most likely going to be thinking, I deserve that, or you want to pay it to a listing agent, someone that's going to represent you fiercely. So that's the real deal on fees. Look, folks, it's not that it's a cost that you must spend, but you end up spending it one way or another, and I think that's the greatest misconception. The National Association of Realtors did a study that houses that have agents sell for 13% more on average, and there's a lot of misconceptions. Like, that's a misleading statistic, but there's so much truth to it. So if it's exposure you're looking for, you're going to fare so much better. Don't shortchange yourself sending little emails to your building, sending out little Facebook requests. Get on thousands of sites. Open this thing up. Allow us to do a pre-marketing campaign where we open it up to the entire world and do everything to get the most people through. The next thing, don't worry about the money you're saving up front because you're going to pay for it one way or another. Why not get a premium price, get representation to get there, and don't compensate a buyer because you save money on the listing fees. They're going to want a part of that. So those are some of those are real reasons that we encounter all the time. And let's face it, the last thing that you need to know is that this stuff is complicated. It looks easy from the outside, but there are a lot of moving parts between loans, title companies, title searches, deeds, contracts, paperwork. It's just not a simple process. So you're going to be scrambling, looking for this information, or hiring someone anyway to help consult during this entire process. Either way, you're not saving your time, you're not saving your money at the end of the day, and you're going to make yourself a little bit crazy. So that's really the real picture behind going for sale by owner. If you have any questions about this, feel free to send them in. It's easy for people to say, hey, I'm biased, and maybe I am. But these are real things that I encounter every single day, and most for sale by owners go for a while and end up hiring someone like me to finish the job. And there's a reason for that. There's a lot of statistics, and I just wanted to speak directly because we just did such a nice job for this seller who was thinking about going for sale by owner that I thought this would be a perfect time to talk more candidly about this. Until next time, thanks.